Triple Shot Mindset. Go ahead. Set an intention for what you'd like to receive or the way Spirit is witnessing you right now and the advice it would like to give.
I think this one right here.
Oh, it's speaking to him.
It's speaking.
Okay, good.
I don't know what language.
You know, you're going to have to read it, right?
Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
There you go.
All right. Everyone's got
Oh, yeah.
their card.
Is it a repeat?
Mm-hmm.
Is it about the horse?
No, don't ask anyone about love. Ask love itself.
So, perfect.
You would know something about this, right?
100%.
Given that you've
100%.
pulled this one 2 or 3 times in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Defeat your enemies with kindness.
Mm.
I wonder why I got this one.
Yeah, it's intriguing, especially since it was the same one Artie pulled this morning.
Amen to that.
The closer you draw to your sweet soul, the sweeter you become.
Perfect.
I love that.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Thank you, Rumi. We are going to discuss.
By the way, he's a Persian guy. You know that, right?
I did know that.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to put it out there.
Yeah, Rumi is Persian, fam.
Yeah.
And what a genius he is.
Genii.
Genii.
He's a multiple genius. That's what we like to say.
Yeah. So we're going to discuss micro steps to your dreams, to your goals, to your growth, the importance of witnessing them, acknowledging them, celebrating them, and then perpetuating them.
Big one. Big one.
Yeah.
It's always the tiny steps that lead to the big revelations in your life. You know, I didn't know what growth meant, honestly. A lot of the words people have used in the past with me, my ex-wife, whoever, I had no idea what those meant. And if someone told me, don't you want to grow? I said, well, growth for me stopped at 21, right?
Like height.
The beard coming out. You know. So for me, it was learning the hard way that growth is a step-by-step climb to the best version of yourself. Because if I were to stay at the age of 26, biologically, mentally, emotionally, then I wouldn't have a place in myself at age 50 something. So for me, it had to be learning what growth meant.
So that sounds to me like maturing is part of it, maturing emotionally, becoming maybe more aware intellectually, thinking new kinds of thoughts, considering new kinds of ideas, developing more self-knowledge so that you know who you are and what you want and what your soul desires. You said when you were 26, if you just stagnated at that age, you wouldn't have a place in the world, essentially, when you're in your 50s, or you wouldn't fit into your own life. That's so true. But time doesn't create wisdom. It gives you the opportunity to gain wisdom, but whether you accept that opportunity or not, it's an entirely separate thing. So I think today what we're asking our listeners and viewers to do is take these tiny growth steps so that you can continue to acquire wisdom and grow.
I think the biggest part of the whole equation, though, is awareness.
Yeah.
And when my ex-wife told me you need to have more awareness, I thought I have to be self-aware about my pimple or my, the way my hair looks. And that was the extent of my knowledge about the word awareness. But now that I understand what awareness is, I think it's the foundational step in growing, because you have to be aware about your thoughts, aware about your fears, aware about your surroundings, where you are, how you're showing up. And if you have that awareness, then you can look at yourself from a third-person perspective and say, why am I acting this way in this situation? Why are my thoughts going in that direction where I could just hone it back to center? If you don't have awareness, if you cannot step outside of yourself, I think growth would be very, very difficult.
Speaking from a novice, when you guys say steps towards growth, explain what steps those are.
So awareness would be the foundational thing.
Step one.
Step one. But there is awareness and there's awareness. You can say I'm aware about everything. I have awareness about me, my thoughts, my feelings, my fears. It's another thing to actually own up to them. If you don't own up to your things that you are observing about yourself and you don't do anything about it, like let's say if you have a fear of public speaking, or if the minute someone calls you and says, hey, I need to talk about my website, and you go into fear and thinking they're going to cancel, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, you have to have awareness about why do my thoughts go there. That's the first step in creating growth.
If the phone happens to ring after 9 p.m. and it's your family member, a million thoughts go through your mind. Did they die? Heart attack, car accident, kidnapping? And I don't know, for some reason, that's been part of me for as long as I can live. I've left my phone on, the ringer on, in case my brother passes away. I can hear it. So I think that's one thing that me personally, I have to work on and realize that it's not always bad news. And that even if it is bad news, I got to deal with it.
Our dad lives 52.5 miles away. And he gave us keys to his house. He said, first of all, leave your phones on. If one night I have a heart attack, God forbid, and I'm dying, and I text you guys, I need help, and you guys jump in your car, drive an hour to West Los Angeles, put in the key, open the door, and see my body over there, you guys can resuscitate me and make me whole again. And he said, wouldn't your first call be to 911? Why wouldn't you call 911 first? I think those things, for example, they pass from certain generations to the next.
Absolutely.
So you have to also have awareness about what in me has been handed down to me.
Yep.
And that is one of the things that dad handed down. That's one of the things that probably grandma handed down to dad and dad handed down to you. So you have to have the awareness of understanding if this is a real threat, is it a real fear, or just something that has been perpetuated by predecessors. And if it is, then see where the root is and cut it.
Yeah. Awareness is so important. And the second part of that you mentioned in a word to me sounds like reflection, like reflect on it. And that doesn't always mean think. It can just mean witness it, watch it, see how it crops up again. If the phone rings again and you feel the same way, then this is not reality that you're witnessing. It's your own pattern. And those are two very different things. Of course, our patterns shape the way we perceive reality, but they don't change reality. So the phone may ring and the client may be calling to say something amazing, but when it rings for one person, it makes them sick. And when it rings for the other, it makes them excited. That has nothing to do with objective reality. The phone is still ringing the same way in both instances. Our patterns shape the way we experience this life. So in terms of incremental growth, my question then becomes, what's the next step when you recognize a pattern that keeps cropping up? And I always say, just to tack on one more thing, the intensity of the pattern shows you how many generations before you kicked the can down the road. So if it's really, really, really intense for you, that means no one else looked at it. You're going to be the first in your line. And so it's scary. It's hard.
Yeah.
Can I share this story?
Please.
20 years ago, I was changing a light bulb. And my dad calls. And he says, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. I'm going to go to Home Depot. But at the moment, I'm changing a light bulb. He asked a 30-year-old man, does your mom know you're doing that?
No, not like that. Does your mom know you're doing that?
Changing a light
How
bulb?
dare you?
And he was really panicking. He said, get off the ladder now. Get off the ladder now. Go hire somebody to do it for you. And I asked, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he replied, well, 10 years ago, a friend of mine fell off a ladder and died. He broke his neck, and I don't want that to happen to you guys. So even though that's a laughable matter, and I laugh at it, I think the phone call thing, for example, probably him saying shit like that for years and years and years has penetrated into my subconscious, whereas I feel like a phone call is always a call for help. So I am working on that. I'm now turning off my ringer because I realized even if my brother dies, and the paramedics are calling me, what does it matter if the body has been cold for 5 minutes or 5 hours? And it is what it is. You just have to, and I repeat that to myself. It is what it is. Like, this is it. I mean, you deal with it.
When it arises, rather than anticipating.
I think with this phone call, let's just use that as an example. I've trained myself to have so much confidence in myself and my abilities and my worth to these clients that when I do get a phone call, I always think to myself, what if they're calling to give me a, hey, I'm recommending you to my colleague? What if they're calling to say, hey, I'm doing great, but how can we do better? So when a phone call comes in, I used to be like him. Quickly, oh gosh, what have I done? Is his website down? Let me quickly come up with an excuse. But now I just see it as, oh, this person's calling me to probably congratulate me. So you have to have that much awareness about your fears that you can then start working on yourself. So it wasn't easy for me to turn that around. But I first started observing, why am I doing this? Every time someone calls, this happens to me. And then little by little, I started saying, okay, next time it rings, I'm going to pick it up with confidence. I'm not just going to give that energy to them. I'm going to come with a very positive energy. If you come from negative defensive energy, you pick up the phone, hello, can I help you? And he's already, even if he's mad, it's just going to make it worse. So that's just one example. But the other one is, if your body, or if you have fear, or your body tenses up, if you have to go inside a room full of people, if it tenses up when...
Is it women or men or mix?
I say it's a networking event.
Okay. Different.
You know, let's say that happens. And some people say, okay, I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to avoid going inside that room. I'm just not going to sign up for any events anymore. I'm going to hire 5, 10, 15 people in the next 15 years, like we did, to go inside those networking events for us because we wanted to avoid it. The universe will still want to teach you that lesson. Mm-hmm. There's no shortcuts. There's no band-aids. There's no, let me go around this issue. So the more you just pull off the band-aid and go straight into that room, and instead of waiting for people to introduce themselves, you go up and shake 5 hands. When you come back out, you're like, wow, I did it. It didn't kill me. I was a bit uncomfortable, but next time you're going to go in that room and shake 10 people's hands, and then 15, and then that becomes a nothing. And then you think to yourself, wow, for the past 20 years of my business, I didn't do this step. I was always anxious and paying other people to take this step for me. But the reality is, you have to take that step. There's no one in the world, even if you find the best person in the world, the universe will still find another way for you to overcome that obstacle.
Yeah. Can I add something to that?
Yes.
Great. What you've said is so mission critical, and I want to talk about it from a spiritual and biological standpoint. And as always, the two dovetail beautifully. Spiritually speaking, you have to be able to develop a sense of worth for your dreams. And if you have a massive fear, like public speaking or shaking strangers' hands, what that fear is actually a barrier to your self-worth. So no amount of dodging that fear is going to get you to your dream, because you don't actually believe you're worthy of your dream until you go through the wall, through the obstacle, and then only on the other side of that will you go, oh my goodness, I believed that I was worthy of going through discomfort to get something I wanted. I must truly deserve that thing. And then the universe brings it to you. That's the spiritual perspective. From the biological perspective, it's about your nervous system. The bigger your dreams are and the bigger your goals are, the more nervous system capacity you need to be able to hold the bigness of that thing. Public speaker, author, millionaire, successful private business, whatever that dream is, your nervous system needs to be able to handle the electrical current of the dream. And what a fear is an invitation to level up your nervous system capacity. So actually, if you go through the fear by either taking an action or you stop and you sit with the fear, you don't even need to take the action. You just sit with the anxiety until it passes through you. You're actually increasing your nervous system capacity, which makes you more ready to receive what you desire. If you keep trying to dodge that, you're at level 5, you need to get to level 10. The fear are steps 6, 7, 8, 9. You just keep staying at level 5 and making lateral moves.
Yeah.
So you try to solve the problem by hiring someone or by getting an assistant or by changing your career completely or by dumping your partner. You just keep switching circumstances, but never looking at yourself, never sitting with that fear. Your nervous system never has the opportunity to expand like the flower. It just stays like the bud and eventually it rots on the vine.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect, great points. Those level 6, 7, 8, 9s are what's going to get you there. And so what's the difference between someone who's willing to take those risks and then we say, oh, that guy got lucky, he's a millionaire. Like Tony Robbins, Kobe Bryant, he's just playing basketball, but he's getting paid $60 million a year. We don't come to realize that they took those steps, those fearful steps.
And they were their own steps.
And they had to do it. And so that's what's causing that rift between people saying, oh, well, I'm working just as hard as how come that other person is making more money?
Yeah.
Or how come that person's more happy? Is because they were willing to go through those fears. The story about the bull and the bison is also relevant here. Because the bull, when the storm is approaching, they run away from it. Just like you run away from fear. Mm-hmm. But you're going to be embedded into that whole storm much longer because you're moving at the same rate or slower. And so you're going to be in it for a longer period of time. And you're going to get further away from your goal because you're running away from it. The bison, on the other hand, it goes through it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be windier. The wind's going to hit you in the face. It's going to be colder. It's going to be scarier because why would you want to run into a storm? But you're going to get to the other side faster.
So it runs right into the storm.
Right into it. So this is one of the issues that I have too. I need to go start shaking hands because this is what has been stopping me from getting from where I am. Talent, great. 100 out of 100. Motivation, 100 out of 100. All that, but the glass ceiling is a fear that we have.
100%.
And if him and I decide to, you know what, I don't care if I'm going to pass out, because that's going to be the worst case scenario. You're going to pass out if you walk into a room full of 100 business people. That's the worst that can happen. The benefit of that is you're going to be more confident afterwards. You're going to have 20 business cards, 20 new leads, 20 people who thought to themselves, wow, these guys came into this room. They took over the room with their presence. I want them on my team. Not the guy who's sitting in the car. Here you go, sir. Here's my business card. Please call me if you want anything. And if you call, I'm going to be scared because I'm going to be, at your... People don't want that.
It's the quality of the action over the quantity of the action. Mm-hmm. We also think we can escape our fears by just putting in a lot of hard work somewhere else. And then we say, well, look, I've been working so hard. Well, you've been working so hard to run away from what you're afraid of. So congrats. But if you can just do the one thing you're afraid of one time, that alone levels up your nervous system. That alone makes it so much easier the next time you do it. You mentioned Kobe Bryant and who was the other one?
Tony Robbins.
We can't even always look from the outside and know what their fears were. Every individual's on an individual journey and only we know what our fears are. Sometimes people can't even see them from the outside. Or conversely, they're so freaking obvious to everyone around you. The idea is, for our listeners and viewers, in order to incrementally step up, start looking at the things that are causing you anxiety or the repeating thoughts that seem like it's reality stopping you. I promise you it's not reality stopping you. It's the reality your patterns are imposing on your life. So whether it's the phone or shaking hands, or for some people, it's slowing down. For some people, it's the opposite problem. They're afraid to stop shaking hands. They're afraid to stop getting on planes and traveling. They're afraid to just stay at home for 2 weeks and settle and ground themselves and look at their life and the people in it. So it's not like there's a hard and fast rule. Look at the things that you are either attached to or trying to distract yourself from, or the circumstances that keep repeating without explanation. That's where you start doing these micro little level ups.
Yeah. For somebody who has gone through that and still many more steps to go. One time we went to a networking event 10 years ago. And we sat in the car and we observed the room because we could see it from the outside. And we talked ourselves out of it. Now, at the moment, it felt great. But the second we left the driveway,
the shame,
it was like, you feel like shit. So then I started thinking to myself, why is this such a big deal for me? And I realized I see it as a room of people versus a room with a person in it. So it went from a mob to one person. So that became my new thing. I go in there, but I'll just focus on meeting one person. And that person could be a gatekeeper to all the business in the world, or it could just be a good friend, whatever it may be. So my mindset became, my first step is to enter the room. The second step is to just meet a person. And from there, if I have the guts, I can meet somebody else. And believe me, when you meet one person, you feel so good about it that you will happily go shake hands with 5, 10 more people. And when you leave the room, you're like, wow, shit, I did it. And that becomes the fuel for the next one. So for those listening and for myself, these are the steps that you have to take by yourself. No salesperson, no representative can ever go speak with the heart that you have. Instead of looking at it as something that you cannot overcome, look at it granularly, and one thing at a time, one person at a time. You meet one person, you shake one hand. Maybe that's enough for you to say, okay, you know what, I can do this. And the next time you can meet 5 people.
I think it has to be baby steps, of course, if you want to do that. Some people prefer just to jump right in and get over with. But whatever works for whoever, but as long as you make progress.
I'm going to say something even more scandalous. Because yes, and now here's where the rubber really meets the road. You actually don't even have to take any action at all. In order to level up your nervous system biologically, bringing it back to your boy Kobe, I think was a big fan of this, visualization. So there's actually scientific backing that shows if you just sit with the fear and visualize yourself going through the motions without moving a single muscle or getting off your ass. If you put yourself into the moment and go through the sweats and the anxiety and the heart rate increasing, and you say, you know what, I'm just here with myself. We're prepping. This is how we're doing it. Believe it or not, that still increases your physical capacity to do it when the time comes.
Yeah.
So doing nothing is a step as long as it's completely mindful. Back to your first portion of this, you said awareness is key. If you bring that awareness to yourself in the moment, you're still getting all the benefits of leveling up without having to leap off the Empire State Building.
I love that.
I
think that works for a lot of people.
How about leap off the Eiffel Tower?
I was going to go there, but I don't think anyone does leap
Here's the
off
thing,
the Eiffel Tower,
sometimes
do they?
when people are
I hope
they're
not.
trying to grow, right?
Yes.
And fear of certain things is one of the biggest hindrances of their growth. I realized if I visualize, like our boy Kobe used to, God rest his soul, I've realized the more I give it thought and energy, the more my body will start getting more nervous and nervous. If I'm, for example, afraid of skydiving, and I think to myself from 2 weeks prior, oh my God, I'm going to jump, I'm going to see the farms and the roads and the cliffs. The more I do that, I think it's going to push me to quickly tap out and say, you know what, my sore throat's not going to heal in time, I'm not going to do that. I've realized that sometimes you either have to quickly do it, or like you said, you visualize and you get yourself prepped. But if I know myself, and if I know, let's say, giving blood is one of the biggest hindrances of me getting healthy. Like first I got to do a blood work. I'm like, well, the needle's going to hurt. But if I go in there, Kevin says, I'm just going to drive you to this building. Go downstairs to that room, roll up your sleeve. I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
They stick it in.
Mm-hmm. They sure do.
And I no longer have that anxiety building up to that point.
Yeah. Well, may I?
You may.
So I love what you're saying. And I'm going to take it back to science again. And I have no idea why I'm being so sciencey today.
Yeah.
It's just on
Me
the
neither.
brain.
It's probably your USC education.
It could be. I don't know. But it's reminding me of the threshold that neurons have when they fire and other cells have when they fire. There's an electric frequency that has to build up in order to generate either the chemical or electric reaction in the cell.
Yeah.
And it has to build up to a certain threshold. And as you have once said to me, actually many times, once you initiate the launch sequence, it's like there's no stopping it. Once you get it, it's firing. When you're doing your anxiety visualization, that's not the type of visualization I'm talking about. You're building up the worst parts of the experiencing and fixating on those. That's not it. I'm talking about you visualize the experience from start to end, including all the way to the other side, all the way to the needle going in, coming out, closure. You initiate the launch sequence. What we do when we just have general anxiety, because people are probably thinking, wait, I think about bad things all the time and it doesn't help me build my nervous system at all. That's because you're not getting all the way to the end of the launch sequence. You're staying in this preliminary part going up to like 79%, all the worst possible things that could happen. Oh, shit. But you never see yourself being successful.
That's true.
You never see it going well. You never see closure, and you never see the benefit that comes on the other side of it. So for that example of visualization, go all the way.
Good.
Take it all the way through.
Now it makes sense.
Our wonderful, smart, brilliant mom, Mama Shishi.
She makes amazing cookies too.
She sure does.
And the Persian cucumbers, I mean.
Those were incredible.
Yeah.
She always says, don't focus on the path, focus on the destination. So when I started flying, I could be like my brother and think about, and believe me, I don't like flying. I can be like my brother and think about every area of turbulence, the storms that are coming across the Pacific, everything. I can think about everything and make it the most horrible experience for myself. But what I visualize instead of learn to do that is once I land, the feeling I get like, wow, I'm here. Yeah. So that's what I think to his blood draw issues. When I go for a blood draw with him, even though I also want to faint, but I always tell myself, dude, by like it's 10 o'clock now, by 10:10, I'll be in the parking lot getting myself a burrito. Yum. Yep. So I focused on what happens afterwards and the feeling of, yay, I did it. Yeah.
Perfect. That's right.
So to put a bow on this whole thing, growth, you have to have awareness first and foremost. You have to be willing to recognize it as honestly as you can. Never say, oh, well, that's me. I think that's a cop-out. I'm not going to change anything. It's just me. It's how I'm wired. So I think the two biggest hindrances of growth are one, not believing in yourself, having fears and doubts in yourself, low self-esteem, all that crap. And the other one being the inability to change or take advice. You either have to change because you're inspired to do it, or you have to do it out of desperation. If you do it out of desperation, like let's say someone dies, and you finally have to step up and become the man of the household, or your business fails, you finally have to do something. That's a much worse situation to be in. I'd rather change on my terms, on my timeline, on my pace, versus God giving me a, God forbid, a bad health. So don't wait until someone says something. Don't wait until your marriage collapses. Don't wait until your boss fires you. Don't wait until you have to do a quadruple bypass surgery. Don't wait for that to change. Get to it. Get to it before it's too late. So that would be my bow on top.
How the fuck can I top that? I can't.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah, don't have to.
Don't have to.
Triple Shot Mindset.